And welcome back to another episode of VGOSTRAM. I am your co-host, Eric, aka Giraffe. I'm joined here today with, this week's main co-host, or main
I thought
host.
it was last week.
You're the main host.
It doesn't matter. I picked the game, so
Yeah, so you're the main host.
So yeah, I'm your main host, Cody, or Chemlicker again. And this week we are doing Diablo II, which is kind of a weird pick when I think about it.
I'm just gonna preface this before we listen through the songs. I didn't enjoy a lot of the songs that were picked or that were on the soundtrack.
So there's something I wanted to bring up. Like the soundtrack is definitely made for the game, so you have to kind of like listen and review it in the context of the game instead of just like as a normal song.
I did. I tried really hard to keep it in mind of its ambience for like a dungeon crawler type game. And it worked for the most part, but there was a lot of songs that it just was nothing but just hardcore ambience.
Yeah, there's a few of those. Mostly it's like the dungeon music, but we'll get there.
Like it starts off strong and then just kind of like wades off a bit, and there's like a couple good songs here and there, and then it just like bombs for me. And then there's like two really good songs that I just like had to count them together.
I wonder if that's the last two.
That is.
It's essentially just Tristram.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, before we actually get into it, I just give a little brief history about my experience with the game, which I played a lot of this game, even though I was a late starter. I started playing it when I was 12, and I played it hardcore for about 3 years, and then I got into World of Warcraft, and then it all went downhill.
I've known about this game when I was in, I want to say 5th grade. It was like 5th or 6th grade. So, there was this kid at school. He had problems. So this is probably like not a good way to start it off. But he was like a really weird kid. I thought he was cool. Like but he was like that weird kid that nobody really talked to. But he got into explaining the Diablo games, and in my head, I thought it was like a Western first-person shooter, because I heard the name Diablo, and this is before like I was like into like the old medieval type of stuff, because I was still playing like platformer video games and like Pokemon, so I wasn't like as into like the fantasy genre.
That kind of makes sense, although weren't you in Catholic school at this point?
No, I was way beyond Catholic school at this point. I was back in public school. So pretty much the kid is explaining to me, and I'm like, eyes are completely glazed, and all I'm hearing is like, yeah, then you gotta shoot Diablo with the things, and then I'm like, all right, shooting Diablo. Okay, this is a Western game where you're shooting Diablo in the Midwest, because I'm thinking El Diablo. And that's the only context in my brain took. So I'm like, oh, so he comes back, so you gotta kill Diablo 2.
Wow.
Yeah, I was not aware that this game was actually like a dark, like medieval game. Like, which is funny because I played Gauntlet, which is
pretty much the
same
style.
thing. It's dungeon crawler, has an evil demon at the end. So I don't know. I'm not sure why I couldn't correlate that with the other.
The imagination of a child is something to behold.
Which is weird, because back then I had like the biggest imagination.
You can imagine things, sure, but your interpretation is definitely different.
Well, especially back then. I had a very limited range of interpretation.
Yeah. Well, without further ado, I guess we'll get started on the soundtrack. So the first song on the soundtrack is Wilderness, which is a very long song.
It is. It actually caught me by surprise when I first heard it.
This song is like a pretty much catch-all for the beginning 2 zones of Act 1. It's like it plays in the...
Well, isn't like where you drop in, pretty much you're like in the middle of the wilderness. Like you don't even go into the encampment until like you just stumble across it.
No, you literally start in the town.
I could have sworn you started in the wilderness.
It's just that the town is so small that it's like 20 steps away from the town. But yeah, this song just brings back a lot of memories because personally, I love Act 1 the most by far. It is not even close.
I like Act 1 and Act 2 personally.
Act 3
Sucks.
is not fun.
It sucks.
It's cool thematically, but playing it is just not fun.
It sucks.
Yes, okay, we get it.
All right, for Act 1 at least, so there's completely distinct sounds that you get within each act. I would say Act 1 has drums and guitars that kind of like put it in this like weird, like this is Act 1's like thematic sound or instrument.
Yeah, so it's like Tristram as an act.
Yeah.
Except with, like someone going ham on the drums.
That's actually what I really enjoyed. I actually enjoyed the drums just going ham. Whenever the drums or the guitar go off, it's like really enjoyable.
I don't remember where it was in my notes, but I remember adding like, for this kind of style of music, having drums, like just a plain drum set in general, was like really unique. Because like if you think Diablo, you're thinking, Tristram, maybe Act 2, 3, 4, and like none of them just say like, hey, let's throw in like a plain drum set. It's usually like world percussion like timpanis, congas, bongos, the like. So when you throw in a regular drum set, it makes it like just feel really unique compared to the rest of the soundtrack. Yeah,
it's pretty different. I think there was another thing that popped up in my head, but that's not on this. Yeah, I can't remember it right now, but it was something like completely off my notes. But I do want to say I love the dark feel it gives. The overall despair tone that, like, there's no hopefulness in any of these songs. I want to preface that
for a obvious reason.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a dark. Well, so here's the thing, like, because of watching or listening to these over and over, I ended up getting into like some Diablo lore deep dives, and it's gotten me in the mood to want to play Diablo.
Good news, possibly.
Well, I was thinking of re-downloading Diablo 3 or reinstalling it. I enjoyed it.
You can play that without me then.
I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was bad.
Do you not remember launch?
I didn't have it at lunch.
That's right.
you and your cousin were the only ones that had it. I was broke. I was playing WoW behind you guys.
It was not good at launch. Like, servers aside, it was just the balance was whack.
Well, it wasn't like certain classes were like absurdly strong.
Yeah.
Sorcerer.
They're okay.
Weren't they the most busted?
It was like the Archon build or something, but I didn't like it.
No, I think it was it has to do with the Hydra or like the dragon or whatever. You would summon like a little dragon. It was the poison dragon.
Oh yeah, poison Hydra.
Yeah, so it would like summon the dragons and then like it would do so much poison damage, everything would just die so quick. They ended up removing that variation entirely.
Yeah, I didn't play long enough to even realize that they removed it. I beat the game though, if that means anything.
So did I, and then I got the expansion when it came out. I enjoyed it.
I have the expansion, but I never booted it.
Huh.
I got it as a birthday present.
I enjoyed the Crusader class. It was what I don't like is that they added the Necromancer from Diablo 2, and he's the cost of an entire like game.
Is it really that bad?
It's $60 for him alone.
There's no way that's right.
That is, I swear, that was the last thing I saw since the last time I played the game.
I'm not going to fact check that now, but I will come back to that later.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I could have sworn I saw $60 for that. I'm like, that is not worth it.
On a related note to being wrong, so I was thinking about what we were talking about last time on the Kingdom Hearts episode, and like, so I was wrong in the sense that the Planet B like remix is its own, like that is its own thing, but Simple and Clean is also its own song, but it is the like reprise of a melody from Ikari, which is like the main Kingdom Hearts 1 theme.
I'll take your word for it.
I know that was like, just like a huge wall of words that I can see on your face overwhelmed you.
I wouldn't say overwhelmed. It was just, I'm trying to remember. I'm like, I can't bring up this memory, so.
I'm right, wrong. But, okay. Getting back to, the song at hand, which is still playing because it's so long.
Yeah, literally. So the part where this goes off, it's like one of the best songs in the game.
He's talking about the part where the clean electric comes in and then like the drums start going really, really ham.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's easily the best part in the song.
Like, I enjoy the music. Oh, not all the music in Act 1, but like a good chunk of Act 1 music. But I would say like the overworld music is like the best.
Easily. Yeah, like as far as the song structure goes, like it starts out kind of like obviously inspired by Tristram, and then kind of like fades out and going to like ambient noises, and then it comes back extremely hard with like the glassy electric, and then the drums and the cello.
Yeah, it really is enjoyable, and it's funny because I remember playing this game. I mean, the small amount of times that we actually played. I will say I probably didn't get the whole story out of it because of the fact we just kind of like rushed through everything.
Yeah, basically what happened was I played through the game so many times that I was like, don't read any of the text, let's just go.
Yeah, so I honestly didn't absorb what was going on. All I knew was that Diablo was going to be resurrected and you need to chase this dude. And I don't know who this dude is. I mean, I found out later on just due to watching lore videos like the past couple days. And apparently he's the hero from the first game.
Is he?
Yeah, so the person who has the Dark Wanderer is supposed to be the main character from the first game.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the old dude.
Old dude. The dude that he like takes with him?
Yeah, the decrepit dude.
I don't know who that is.
I was going to say like, okay, I knew the Dark Wanderer was Diablo. I thought you were just saying it was the old dude.
No. I mean, technically Leoric was Diablo.
Interesting tidbit about that later, but that's like at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, Wilderness, I think, sums up essentially the entirety of Diablo. Like, in a nutshell.
I wouldn't say the entirety of it. I would say it was...
At the very least, Act 1.
Yeah, I can definitely say the entirety of Act 1.
God, I wish they just made another Act 1.
Well, I mean, Diablo 4 would become a thing soon.
TM.
Well,
it is Blizzard.
Well, it is. I mean, Diablo 2 Resurrection, or whatever it's called, is supposed to come out before.
We shall see how that goes.
Maybe this time I'll be able to enjoy the game.
Maybe. I am worried, though, just about one thing.
What?
So it is a complete like graphical overhaul, and like that's nice and everything. But from like their little gameplay teaser, it looks like it plays exactly like Diablo 3.
That doesn't bug me.
That bugs me so much.
Like I said, I have no problems with it. I jumped on the Diablo train super late in comparison to everybody else, and I would say Diablo 3 is the only game I've really played and understood what was going on. I think I played it by myself for a good chunk of it.
Probably.
Because I remember playing it with friends, but I can't say if I played it like throughout the entire thing with friends. I don't know. Maybe it's something I revisit later. Because I want to play it again. Or I would like to play Diablo like as a series.
Maybe I'll join that, including 3.
But anyways, as the song itself, I want to give it a 9 out of 10.
That's exactly what I gave it. It is just... It's like an actual song. Just really long. That sounds really dumb when I think about it.
What?
It's like, of course, it's an actual song, but like for Diablo, it's an actual song.
It's like this song is like a song. Yeah.
And now the next song,
Which will be the Rogue Encampment. I can't read it as just the base name because it just sounds stupid.
Rogue.
Which continues to have the Act 1 sound to it.
So yeah, this is technically the first song you'll hear in-game.
Which has the same like guitar, and I want to say the drums are also in it.
I don't think they are. They might be. I don't think they are.
Yeah, it's only the guitar.
But there's still, it keeps that. It literally has the Tristram chords in it,
Yeah.
but it's played in a lot more chilled out way. Like, you feel safe even though there's really no safety, which kind of sums up every town. Even the last song is like, it's happier, but yeah, there's still like this really dark, creepy undertone.
Well, I mean, this world is
Messed up.
is really messed up, and it's weird because it wasn't like until. So I can't remember. Is Sanctuary just the continent or the entire world?
I think that's the world.
Because everything I came across, it just kept referring us to like this one landmass as Sanctuary, and there's like the only place where the Nephilim are.
I wonder if it's like another case of like Zemuria.
Probably. But I mean, I don't think in the Diablo world it's been explored much. Because you're always like, first game you're only Tristram, second game you're traveling a lot more, and then you end up going to hell, and then you kind of do the same thing in 3.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, don't forget, and after you go to hell, you go to Scotland.
Wait, what? I don't remember this.
Lord of Destruction.
Do you go to Scotland?
Yeah. Act 5.
Oh, yeah. All I remember is in the cinematic where Bale just blows up that dude.
Wait. No, not Scotland. Like Sweden or Iceland.
It's completely different from Scotland.
Yeah. I don't know why I was thinking Scotland. Let's
Just
just say
made
you
an
go
enemy
to.
from life.
Let's just say you go to Sweden.
Just keep your butts off them.
Anybody who's played Diablo 2 when it was current would know that reference. So yeah, song Rogue Encampment. It's a chilled out Tristram. It's actually just like taking a motif and creating new melodies on it.
That feels like a lot of Act 1 songs. It's pretty much a lot of motifs from Tristram. I would say it's when it gets to Act 2 and to like the dungeon music is where it just kind of like expands or like goes into a different direction.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense why it would do that.
Yeah. It does.
This song in particular, I've heard maybe the most. Just because, when you play in a patch that doesn't let you reset your talents, and you go to the next difficulty and you're kind of stuck because every enemy is immune to your abilities, there's not much more you can do unless you get a carry.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they give more than just one talent reset per difficulty.
Maybe.
Because if that would be a good quality of life for the Resurrection version.
I think they're going to be using 1.14D, which is the current patch.
So as a basis, I hope they do some quality of life stuff though.
That would be nice. Because yeah, having to beat a difficulty just to reset your talents for them to be invalidated by the next difficulty anyways kind of feels bad.
Yeah. I mean, I always play the Necromancer whenever I play too, so it sucks going full bone build, and then which works on normal, and then once you get to the higher difficulties, it's like, yeah, you're doing like no damage.
How about when we went to Nightmare when I was playing Frost Sorceress?
Oh god.
Immune to ice, immune to cold, immune to cold, immune to cold, immune to cold.
Didn't you have to go electric?
I tried to start going. No, that was back before I knew any better, and I wanted to go lightning, and lightning sucks because it's never, just a solid here's a high number. It's just 1 through increasing cap. So it doesn't matter if you have 20 points in every skill. It's either 1 through whatever.
So it has just like a large range.
It is a dice roll on everything, whether you like tickle the enemy or actually do any damage. Which feels really bad when you're playing through Nightmare or Hell.
I would say the ice variant was the coolest looking, especially with Frozen Orb.
Definitely the coolest looking, but then fire comes along and it just obliterates everything. Of course, unless they're immune to fire.
So what would you... Oh, I also wanted to say that this song actually gives me a lot of Dream Theater vibes to it.
All right, you're going to have to explain that one to me.
So it's like towards the... I want to say it's like middle section, I think is when... So skip the song ahead a little bit, just towards the middle. Because obviously, like, the first part is very... Like around here is where it just kind of has a Dream Theater vibe. I think...
On the Backs of Angels?
Yeah, like, on the Backs of Angels. Like, more of their more recent stuff.
It's funny you mentioned that. Because on the Forbidden album, The Astonishing, they have a song called Heaven's Cove, which is just an acoustic 12-string, which gives off major Diablo II vibes, but the progression they use is the same progression as on the Backs of Angels, so it's got a double whammy. So now it just comes back full circle.
On the backs of Diablos.
That's something. But yeah, I'm glad you pointed it out because that was going to come up at some point.
Huh. All right. That works
just
out.
From the opposite end.
Well, I do want to rate this song a 7 out of 10.
I gave it a 7 as well. It's good.
It is. The next song is going to be Sisters. I think this is where you're hunting Andariel or whatever her name is.
Bloodraven. She's the sister rogue. The one that got turned evil in front of the mausoleum in the crypt.
Oh, yeah.
Where she just runs around, you can't hit her.
Remember, my memory is much more vague than yours. I remember bosses. Like, I know what the major bosses of each act are supposed to be. But it's like the actual story of what you're trying to do is like way over my head.
That's kind of fine and to be expected.
Like I said, whenever the next game comes out, I can actually hopefully enjoy it.
Yeah, this song plays in the burial grounds, I think. Just that. But I like this song because it's a little more melodic.
I like the melodic tone. I feel like it's really short compared to the other songs.
It is very short. It's like just about 3 minutes. Even though I think Rogue was like 2. Never mind, I'm wrong. Oh, right. I'm using a different time scale. Yeah, this one's only 1:45.
It honestly sounds like a bit of a reprise from the Rogue song.
Which makes sense, considering the whole
you're chasing
ex-Rogue.
Yeah, you're chasing a rogue. But I enjoyed it. It wasn't really, since it's not long, it just didn't really give me much to really go off besides using the steel string and then just like the reprising notes. I mean, I like it. But honestly, I'd probably just only give it a 6 out of 10.
That's still above average. So I do like the guitars, obviously, but the highlight for me is easily the hammer dulcimer. I want one of those so bad, but they're like really big and bulky and like $2,000.
That's a lot.
But they just sound so cool. Like anytime we talk about a song that has a hammer dulcimer, it's always like I'll always point it out. Anyway, yeah, song's simple. It's another Act 1 song for sure. And I gave it a 7.
Yeah, it's a good song. The next one will be Spider. And this one has like really good horror and creepy sounds to it. It uses the strings. I think it gets played a little bit later on, where for whatever reason strings gets to be associated with spiders. I'm assuming because of webs and stuff.
That makes sense.
So every time you hear like a heavy string section, it's usually horror or spiders.
You know, I never made that association myself, but that does make sense.
Yeah, you'll find it in a lot of anything dealing with spiders, like horror movies, games. It always switches to strings whenever they get introduced.
So this song is kind of a weird one in the fact that like, so it's cave music essentially. Well, and there is a other like cave song, but I think this one is Act 3. But anyway, so there's a part of this song is a callback to Diablo 1's dungeon music, which is really cool. And then there is a lot of echoey ambience in the song. Like it just trails on forever, which is the whole point of like it being ambient.
Yeah.
But those like horror strings that are playing in the background right now, I hate that sound.
Really?
Because it creeps me out.
Well, I mean, that's the point.
I know.
It works.
That's why I hate it. I don't hate it because like, you know, I think it sounds bad or anything, but it does its job too well. Also,
I mean, it's mostly it's a lot of instruments being played whenever there's just an absurd amount of ambience going on. There's some songs later, like I want to say it was like the cave one or one of the other like cave or dungeon songs that gets played, where it's just nothing but ambience, and it's obnoxiously loud, and every other instrument is just played at a very low level. And I hate it because the ambience is just super loud.
You're gonna have to point that out to me.
I don't, trust me, I will.
I'm going to make a weird comment about this song. So in the beginning part of it, there's like a call and response thing like going on between the instruments. And I actually find it like kind of like cute, which is probably one of the weirdest words you'll hear associated with this game in any way. It's not happening right now. But it's just in the first, I think, like quarter of it. But yeah, this song fits definitely what it's called. A lot of creepy ambience, like that, like awful droning noise that's like raising and falling in pitch.
Yeah, I know the sound.
But it does its job. I would give it a 6.
I give it a 4. It's just outside of like the beginning part, it's cool, and then the rest of it I just couldn't enjoy. it's just where it gets too dissonant for me.
That's kind of the point of Diablo. Or creepy ambience, I should say.
Well, I like creepy ambience, but there's a point where it's like the ambient sound becomes too much if it's by itself. Which I try to understand, like it is supposed to be played when there's a lot more stuff going on. So it's a little off-putting to try to just focus on the musical aspect of it.
I get it. Although the song does pick back up in the second half.
It does.
That's cool.
That happens to a lot of the songs. They're very boring at the start, or like they have a really good start, and the middle is just like nothing, and then like the ending is good. So it's either the beginning end is good, or it's like the first half sucks, and like the second half carries it.
Makes
It's
sense.
like the majority of the songs.
I
I
pretty
will
much
say
agree.
though, like there's a lot of songs I generally start to dislike once it gets to the middle.
All right, moving on to more trash. Here comes Jungle.
Which sounds like forest music.
I mean, a jungle is just a wet forest anyway.
I mean, depends. Like, so I feel like you could have swapped jungle and so there's another song later down the list that's called Forest. It's sounds like a jungle. Jungle sounds like a forest song. Like,
There's nothing called forest.
yeah, there's a song called Forest.
What?
Yeah, isn't there?
No. There's desert.
Could have sworn there was one. Because it stuck out to me.
There's a song called Desert. That's the only like biome themed song.
I'll have to like look out for it because I know there was one. All right, well, you know what? Maybe it's desert. I make note that it sounds like a desert song. Anyways, so this song sounds like it could be played in a forest.
I don't agree.
Maybe it's. Hold on, I think I have it. Oh, yeah. So wilderness sounds jungly, and this song sounds foresty.
I still don't agree.
I forgot to make note of that when we were going over it. But yeah, so the reason I feel like this is more foresty is because it feels like more tribal.
That's literally like jungle, like Amazon.
The Amazon rainforest.
A rainforest is essentially a jungle.
Like, whenever I think of forest, I think like thick trees and stuff like that. When I think of jungle, I think like more swampy. So I mean, I guess it's just based on your interpretation of the two, or by the actual hard definition.
Also, when you said jungle swampy, this is literally a swamp.
This is Act 3, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I hate Act 3. But yeah, I feel like it's more foresty.
But according to your just recent definition, this fits where it's played.
I guess.
So it fits. It works.
I guess.
It's Bethesda. It
I mean-
just works.
This is Blizzard. Before the Activision.
Rip. But yeah, we all hate Act 3. Act 3 is just absolutely terrible to play. But the music's good.
It's the pygmies that annoy me.
Yep. Here's an inferno that kills you in 3 seconds. Oh, I didn't realize we were fighting Diablo. It's like the pygmy towers have an inferno, and then Diablo has lightning inferno. Spot the difference.
There
You
is
both
no
die in
difference.
2 seconds.
They're both the same picture.
Bad.
Yeah, I like the drums and percussion that get played in this song.
How about that like weird like tinny sound?
The tinny sound I don't really care for. It's mostly the drums.
But for the song itself, for me, like I love the like tribal wind sound like instruments because there's like a lot of crossover in tribal stuff, like Native American, South American kind of like influence. So it just translates well for me.
For those who don't know, he's part Native American.
Yeah. Although that's not really relevant.
Well, I feel like it fits.
It's just music I like. Like, I love Arabic music, but I'm nothing Arabic.
Yeah, but you appreciate it. There's a difference.
All right. Here we go, pigeonholing. But in all seriousness, no. This
No,
song, we're good.
Yeah, that's good. Did you score it?
I did not yet. I gave it a 6.
I gave it a 6 also. A lot of similar scores, which is funny.
This is probably our closest record so far.
I mean, probably only due to the fact it's mostly ambient.
Now, the next song is Zakarum, which
It means Zakarum.
I hate this place so much.
I don't remember this place.
It's the music that plays in the Bazaar and Travancore.
Oh, in Act 2?
3.
3. There's a bazaar in Act 3?
Yeah. It sucks because there's like 6 dungeons. You have to find Mephisto's eye, brain, and heart.
Oh, and like there's 3 of the dungeons are empty, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that's the Bazaar.
You must look for... What was it, Diablo? Or Mephisto?
Yeah, Mephisto.
You must look for the body parts of Mephisto. And we'll stick them into the Herodrum cube.
And let's mix it in with the flail for some reason.
Yeah, I don't really get that part.
Yeah, I love this song. This like doubles down on the tribal part of like the, indigenous instruments that I talked about in the last song. But on top of that, it's also really classic Diablo, where it's just like overwhelmingly like dark and broody.
Yeah, I mean, I like the darkness and the broodiness. I like it, though the song itself feels like it carries over from like the last song, which makes sense. It's the dungeon theme, I would say, for Act 3.
It's overworld.
It's overworld?
Yep.
I could have sworn it was a dungeon.
Pretty sure it's just the overworld for the Bazaar and Travancore. I also could be wrong because it's been a while since I played Act 3.
I always get there's certain parts in the game which like kind of grind on me. It's the monastery in Act 1. It's the area where a bunch of lizards show up in Act 2. And the entirety of Act 3 just grinds on it.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks so bad.
I'll agree with that last one.
Act 4 seemed fun.
Oh boy. I hate Act 4 only because it is super unclear on where you're supposed to go.
That seems like most of the game for me. I don't know where I'm going. I follow you most of the time.
It's like usually with everything else, you can just like wander the edges of the map and like, okay, here's an exit to the next area. But with Act 4, you're supposed to use like stairs and tunnels, and they're usually in the middle of the map, which is why I hate it.
Understandable.
Yeah, this song is actually kind of strange in a way because it kind of sounds like a blend of Act 1 and 2, just with like the general like instrument theming of 3.
Yeah, I would say it works. Or that description works. I would just rate it a 6.
That's still good. So I'll give it a 7. Also,
Still
there's
close
this
to
like
scale.
weird little melodic percussion thing. Like in the beginning, I don't
Is it like a flute?
know. It's like that weird like doo 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 doo.
Oh, okay, yeah, I hear it.
I don't know
Very
what it is,
low.
but I like it. And the next song is Desert.
Which is probably like one of my favorite songs in the game also.
So we're going back to Act 2. And if anybody is wondering why we're going so out of order, there's a particular reason which I wonder if you have figured it out.
I have not.
I won't bring it up for a while. I'll see if you can figure it out. Yeah, this song is really good. This is essentially like the general music for Act 2. Where
You're
It's just the
going in the
overworld.
desert.
Yeah.
I like this one. This is before the part I dislike in this level. I don't mind the desert.
Wait, when you say lizard, are you talking about the snake, the Viper dungeon?
Like when you have to go into the Vipers.
Oh my god, that dungeon sucks.
That dungeon's horrible. It's like I remember dying there over and over.
Yeah, because like literally, as soon as you charge into the temple or the altar room, you just get swarmed, and they have this stupid like knockback stun where you just get knocked back into oblivion, and then you just instantly die because you can't move.
And I think in the harder difficulties, they even have poison or fire.
They're immune to fire, I think.
Yeah.
Which, kind of cancels out my entire shtick.
Well, you're either frost or fire.
I try to main fire now, but my backup would be frost.
Why would I do frost in the beginning? I mean, that's what I would do personally. Because you get some cool spells by the end, and then when you start the next act, then you can go fire. I mean, honestly, it's preference.
Yeah.
Just like how I go bone build in the first difficulty. In the second difficulty, I had to like start slowly going into like curse poison.
Which is good.
It's not as fun. I like shooting bone spears and bone spirits.
Bone build is definitely the most fun to play, Necromancer. And then, if you haven't played the game and you want to, don't use Hero Editor, because you can get some like really fun, stupid builds. So like the soft cap for skill points is 20. But on Hero Editor, you can put in 99, and it still counts.
What?
So if you put like all 99 points into summoning, you'll have like some crazy absurd number, like 20 summons per thing. So like 20 regular skeletons, 20 mages, 20 golems. Or no, I think you can still only have one.
You can only have one golem,
but
it just increases its health.
Basically, you can have like
stacks.
20 reses. It's all great. It's dumb, but it's great.
Necromancer was fun. Yeah, they definitely nailed the desert tone for this song.
So yeah, going back to what I said a little bit earlier about the whole the Arabic theming. Yeah, I love Act 2's music as much as of a drag Act 2 can be sometimes.
I would say the second half is what drags.
Yeah,
because there's like a section where it's like a dark sun or whatever. It's supposed to be like representing of being hotter. That's all I remember.
The dark sun was the pit or the Vipers.
Okay, so then I do remember it right.
Yeah, that's actually like the first third.
The Black Set?
Yeah.
I could have sworn that was the second half.
Because the first quest you do is in town, and the second quest you do...
Because you go in town, I remember you do stuff in the sewers, and then you fight beetles and stuff.
God.
I remember the beetles like just kicking your butt.
Because like the maggot lair is easily the worst thing if you're a caster.
I was a caster.
But you have people to like take hits for you. I don't.
I got people. You don't got people. It's okay.
I have energy shield, but that just means I can't attack anymore. Yeah, Desert. It's a pretty good song considering it's like almost like 75% of Act 2's music.
Well, that's a good thing. That's probably why it stuck. It's one of the songs I remember the most. That with Tristram, Sanctuary, Rogue, and there's like a couple later songs. But yeah, this one's one of my personal favorites. I give it a 9 out of 10.
That's actually really high. I gave it an 8.
Still pretty high.
Yeah.
Well above average.
I don't think I have anything else to add other than just the whole like fusion of instruments and like the way it progresses is really cool.
Yeah, it's it was fairly composed well.
Good job, Matt. Now the next song is Toru, which is the town theme for Act 2, also known as Loot Ghislaine.
Isn't that a level in Dot Hack?
I don't think it is, but I know what you're talking about. Like their naming convention is very similar.
Yeah, I remember Luke Lane being something.
I could look into that after, because now I'm intrigued.
But yeah, I don't feel like this is as good as the last song, but it does have like the deserty theme.
Yep.
Like down, like it's got the same sound to it.
Love it. Just on that fact alone. Now, this actually do like this song a lot too. Because like it's technically more melodic than Desert, which was already pretty melodic, especially for a like, field theme. But there's a Matt Wellman has a very specific styling of how he writes music, and like you can hear this in his work in World of Warcraft as well, which he hasn't done a lot, but he's done a good handful of songs. No matter what he does, he always has like this rock theme that he like implements into his music, which of course really comes out in Act 1. But in this song in particular, there is a bit of it's like very orchestral focused, obviously, but there's a rock styling behind it, if that makes any sense.
Vaguely, it makes some sense. I don't know. I personally feel like it's a little too slow for my liking. I kind of wish it was a little faster. I mean, I get it's a town song, so it's supposed to be a little more relaxed. Like, it doesn't need the high energy of a field song or overworld song.
I guess I was mistaken, but I could have swore when I was doing a listen throughs, I thought I heard a Mellotron in the right sound channel. Yeah, I was wrong. But still, it's pretty good just because of the sound alone. So I gave it a 7 out of 10.
I give it a 5. I mean, it's average.
Yeah, that's fine. And now we have Sanctuary, which is easily my favorite song in Act 2. So I think kind of what I was talking about last song with Wellman's writing style, I think really shines in this song. Like the way it starts off is really slow and is kind of like actual like background music, and then it just kicks straight off.
Yeah, I would say it's another slower song. It does gain like high energy with the drums that like picks up. I want to say like towards the halfway or like within a minute. But I mean, it's mostly just used to fill in the extra space that the ambience tends to create. But I mean, so it's pretty much there's like the ambient song, and then there's where like the drums start kicking in, or when the drums plays, it's like two different tempos being played. Like you have the slow, like background, like soundtrack part, and then you got like the forefront of it, which is just like much higher energy.
So I'm gonna give you a little bit of an interesting tidbit. So the lyrics being sung in this song are Sanskrit. That's also a dead language.
Yeah, just like Latin.
And I think the fact that the way it's kind of like converged with like the rock styling is like an especially cool thing for like, was it like 2000? Which now this kind of stuff is like being done a lot with Japanese games. I think Nier is one of them.
I would have to double check that. I haven't finished Nier Automata. I ended up rage quitting that game after a point. I have to get back to it.
Nier Gestalt?
I think that's the one that's coming out.
No, that's the remake. There is like two versions. There's one for PS3 and then one for Xbox 360.
Yeah, there's like two different characters or two different stories.
But anyways, they're being re-released for modern consoles. But yeah, this song, definitely my favorite. Also, another stupid, interesting tidbit. Not interesting, maybe, but... So I showed this song to my mom a few years back because I really like it, especially specifically the singing part. And after I showed it to her, she said it sounded evil. Not
I,
because it's Diablo themed, because there's certain vocal style.
okay. So pretty much it fits, is what you're trying to say.
Let's just say there's a heavy implication that
I'm
I
not
will
sure if
not
I'm
say on the
following.
podcast.
Okay. I mean, you can cut it out.
I'll tell you at the end.
All right. Yeah, I gave this song a 7 out of 10.
I gave it a 9. Because, man, this song is so good to me. And the next song is Crypt. So, kind of just going on the general train of Act 2. It's good music.
Is this an Act 2 song? I thought this was an Act 1 song.
It's Act 2.
Okay.
It's essentially like all the dungeon themes that aren't like the maggot lair.
Oh, okay, yeah. I can hear it with the it, so again, it's got the strings to like indicate bugs.
I just thought that was a rain stick.
No, there was a string that gets played after the rain stick stops. But yeah, this is the guitar is why I thought it was an Act 1 song. But the flute does work for Act 2, so it's kind of like a weird mix.
I'm actually unsure now. Maybe it's a dual purpose.
Well, isn't Crypt in like a thing you have to go through in Act 1?
Yeah. But
It's
then,
like the
Act
crypt and then
2
the
is
monastery.
all crypts.
I'm pretty sure Tomb is the one for Act 2.
Maybe. Again, it's been a while and I don't remember specific songs. But we'll just talk about the song in general. So yes, it is very Act 1 just from the guitars alone. And now that makes sense.
Yeah, it's very dissonant. Like, I kind of don't like it because it's kind of like a weird, awkward vibe.
What do you mean by that?
So outside of like the heavy drumming parts, like like the section before this and like a little bit after when the drums stop, there's like it kind of gives like an awkward vibe to me. Like I don't want to say like creepy or disturbing. I mean like maybe unsettling a little bit.
But awkward.
Okay, so this is a rain stick. I want to say there's another thing where it uses strings again. Okay, maybe not. I know it plays after the first time that the strings get played.
I still don't know what you mean by awkward.
It's hard. It's hard for me to describe it, but it's like it gives like a weird feeling.
Okay. I don't really have anything to add on top of that aside like, yeah, it's Act 1. I just from like the Tristram theming alone, that's kind of like a good giveaway, I guess. But after that, like first half or so, it moves on into
Ambience.
essentially ambience, and like the dissonant thing that you're mentioning, like just from the male choir alone, it's like their chord was very dissonant, and I think that's cool because it just kind of adds on to it.
The over dissonance kind of like drives me away from it. The instruments are cool though; they're enjoyable.
But I give it a 7.
I give it a 4.
Sounds about right. And now we are in Tombs, which this should be proper Act 2, which makes more sense.
So like the very beginning has a very Devil May Cry 3 sound to it.
I'm definitely going to have to take your word on that.
So it's mostly like the level themes. So each level song or like beginning of a level or mission has like a little song that gets played, and it's used in every like mission start menu, and it's kind of like played like this, where it's got like a vocal track, or maybe it's like a different Devil May Cry. I know it has something like this. Maybe not the vocals, but more so the actual like instruments.
So it's just kind of like ambience.
Kind of.
You know what? This song actually reminds me of WoW. Like,
You're gonna have to explain that one a little
right.
more.
I'm gonna play it back a little bit. So after the like ethereal female choir like finishes playing, listen to like the background instruments, like the specifically like, the horns and like the
I can kind of hear it.
like it becomes kind of major, and it's like I don't like the way the progression works. Like it sounds very WoW instead of Diablo,
I can kind of see it.
which I guess at this point would be like a precursor.
Yeah, that would be true because Warcraft or World of Warcraft.
Or even Warcraft 3 was 2001,
When was Diablo
2000,
and Diablo 2?
or Diablo 1 I think was 96, and Diablo 2 was 2000.
Man, that feels like so long ago.
That's because it was.
Getting old sucks.
And we're still considered relatively young.
Yeah, I know. That's what sucks.
Yeah, after being melodic, it just tones down significantly with ambience.
Yeah, it just slows down. But it's not like obnoxious ambience. It's not like the last song or a song that comes up a little bit later.
I don't know how long it is from like the halfway point, but there's a drum change which I want to like. Oh, there it is. So this song or this part made me laugh because the way the drums are like laid out, it reminds me so much of Mining Melancholy from Donkey Kong Country 2.
I don't know if I remember that stage.
You know it. It's one of the songs you know.
No, like I can't picture the song in my head. Like I can't play it in my head. Like Sticker Brush Symphony, I could play in my head.
Okay, that makes sense. I'll show it to you after. But this song is weird because it's one of the few ones that have like major chords in it. I think there's only
Major chords for like the drums.
no, just for like overall
Oh,
melodically. Like obviously the entire thing is not in major, but there are a lot of major chords in it, which is exceedingly rare for this game's soundtrack. Yeah, it's a fine song.
yeah, I actually enjoyed it. I gave it a 6.
Me too. Maybe a 5 or 6.5. Although I do really like the piano at the end.
Kind of reminds me of the Mandalorian.
I still have not seen that,
I don't think you ever will.
considering I still haven't even seen episode 7.
Do yourself a favor and don't watch the sequels.
That's what I hear. Yeah, the next song is going to be Monastery. And this song genuinely creeps me out.
Yeah, I enjoy the creepiness that it brings. It's actually a song. One of the songs I actually remember from the game.
This is right from the get-go. It has this like horribly like dissonant and like sliding chords of like a choir. Ugh. And then it only gets worse.
I don't know. It gets better for me. Like it. So whenever you think monastery, you always think of like crypts and all this evilness.
I just think of monks.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I always think of like crypts and just like corpses. That's what. So in Gauntlet, there's a level called the Monastery, and it's just pretty much ghosts and ghouls and zombies kind of thing.
That makes sense. Wow, this song.
This part.
Oh boy. So the creepiness is pretty much only like the first half. But yeah, just the way like everything like slides down dissonantly just is really uncomfortable to listen to, which only makes the song great as it is completely fitting of its atmosphere. And of course, like the heavy vibrato on the strings like really add to the creepiness too because they're like just slightly enough to be out of tune.
Plus, like the flute adds a little bit. Like it does. It's not like a happy flute. It's just like it's like another creepy sound that gets added. That when it plays,
Also, after like the first part of it, there's like this
dissonant.
creepy like heartbeat kind of sound.
Like a drum.
Kind of. And
It sounds like a drum with a lot of reverb.
I was gonna say it. Pretty much everything that comes in at this point has like a ring delay on it, which is where it essentially just like keeps going and going and going forever until you turn it off. And that is ambient.
Yeah, it's most. I mean, again, it's a mostly ambient soundtrack.
And then back on the ring delay thing, it's like with ring delay, like you expect it to just like peter out like a normal delay would, but because it's ring delay, it just keeps going on and going on to where you think it's over, but it's not. And then it only stops like after it's already overstayed its welcome. Yeah, after the whole like first part of it, like it doesn't really become melodic again toward or until like
The very end.
pretty much.
Yeah, so it just like once that part stops, it just goes back to being ambient, and then like the ambient starts to slowly change, and then they give it a little more of a melody.
And then choirs come in like different registers and they're doing like their own thing. Also, I think it's a little later on. Like a lot of the noises they use remind me of the far plane from Final Fantasy X.
That's a song I haven't heard in forever.
I mean, not necessarily the music, just like the area itself, like the ambient noises they use. The song picks up, sort
Very
of.
late into the song does it pick up.
Yeah, and then like they do use some like good emphatic notes. Like they'll throw in notes that don't last more than like a single beat, and like it kind of like adds to like the tension. There's more of those like extremely deep piano notes. The choirs will like change notes and like for durations you don't expect to.
Kind of reminds me of the hospital in Resident Evil.
Which version?
Either 3 or Remake 3.
I legit don't remember any music from 3 either.
OG?
Except for the save room thing because I had
It's
to
like
do
the
it.
only iconic thing. Well, if we ever cover Resident Evil music outside of like maybe the first and second game and third or fourth, maybe we'll cover the third.
I assume we will. Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah, it was a change into the next song.
It's like a dude like dying or something.
You or at least on the playlist that you made, there's a soundbite of the player getting hit. So
That's
I don't know if
funny.
that gets played into the Spotify version. But at least did you rank Monastery?
I did not.
I gave it an 8.
Me too.
It's good.
Man, we are like really connected today.
On this day, we share energy.
Your hand is really warm.
Your arm is warm.
Maybe.
All right, next song. It's titled Cave. And it's a very slow start, and it doesn't pick up until like the minute mark.
So this is essentially just the music that plays in the caves in Act 1. So literally like the Den of Evil, the underground passage, and the other various like unattached dungeons in Act 1.
There's one thing I noticed. There's no songs from Act 4 or 5.
Well, we didn't do Lord of Destruction, so there's not going to be anything from 5. And as for Act 4, there are two songs. Two songs? One, two. Yeah, 2 songs from Act 4.
Kind of disappointing.
I mean, one song is like pretty much all of Act 4, and then the last song is only the Chaos Sanctuary.
I'm assuming that's Leoric's.
Yep.
Had a feeling. I don't even remember Leoric being in the second game.
He's not.
Why does he have a theme then?
That was one of the things I was going to bring up. But we'll get there when we get there. It's only 2 more songs away.
All right. Well, what I wanted to state for this song is after that like very boring and slow start, like once it gets into the actual song, it's actually much more enjoyable. It like the song, like it actually has emotion to it. And it uses my favorite flute.
I'm listening to this song again right now, and like it is Act 1, like it's undeniably played in Act 1, but there's a lot of Act 2 elements to it. Now that I'm like hearing it again,
I will definitely have to, whenever the second game gets remade, I'm sure there's a release date. I just don't remember, or I don't think it was actually put out. But whenever that comes out, I look forward to actually like listening to the music and like absorbing everything.
assuming they don't like remake it or anything.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure it's going to be the same. But at least for what I'm enjoying, or what I got from this song, I definitely enjoyed it. It's got a lot of ambience, but it's got a lot of energy, and it's not like overflood with ambience. But I give it a 7.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
What?
Like it's melodically ambient.
Yeah, it's not like obnoxiously ambient.
So as for the song, like the intro is so slow.
Yeah, so it kicks in at a minute.
But once the choir comes in, it's a little bit similar to the monastery choir where it's like, you know, dissonant, and then like they kind of alter it to like make it like extra dissonant, and then they add like a sweep to it to where just like it's like starts wavering and like the notes really become like out of whack. And that's a like super big plus on the like creepy ambient part. Oh, you know, this actually reminds me of they do the same thing in the extreme in Final Fantasy VIII.
I'm trying to remember. Didn't you pick that as a song?
No.
Then I am misremembering. I know I heard the extreme recently though. I don't know what for reason.
But yeah, like literally in the beginning they have the Fethos Lusek thing, and then like it just kind of like they just have like a sweeping like EQ on it that makes it sound like it's just like kind of like wavering and like freaking out. Yeah. So as we said earlier, like this song has like a lot of markings of Act 2, which is really cool because it's like, I don't know, it fits well enough into Act 1.
It fits for both.
Yeah. And of course, like the heavy dissonant flute is cool too. And then like this song also is like moderately length, but I think it packs like a very big punch for the length that it is, minus the intro.
If they cut out the intro, it'd probably be much better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this song is one of the stronger songs on the soundtrack. I gave it an 8.
I gave it a 7. Now the next song, I hate. It's my least favorite song.
The next song is Mesa.
Which I'm assuming is an Act 4 song.
Yep, this is like 90% of Act 4.
Yeah, this is the song I marked as obnoxiously ambient. It's just like there's nothing but ambience. Like they cranked it up to like near height of what it could be, and they're like, "Oh, you know what? All the instruments that we normally been playing, we're just gonna turn that to like about a 3 or a 4, so you can hear them, but like it's drowned out by the obnoxious ambience that we play."
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. So like I'm not disagreeing with you whatsoever. Like this song is like 95% ambience. And but if you really think about it, it makes the most sense for the way it is. You're literally in hell.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Now I'm not saying it couldn't be better because it could,
Oh, it definitely could.
but you are literally in hell. So just having this like chaos like in your ears makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I much prefer the other songs and their level of controlling the ambience. This one is like, ugh, it's just screaming.
I wouldn't mind this song if it was more like Wilderness where it's played through a majority of the like act, but the fact that it's like literally everywhere except Chaos Sanctuary, I think definitely like takes it down a peg because it's literally the only thing you hear, even in town.
Doesn't Pandemonium Fortress have its own song?
I'm pretty sure it's just this.
It kind of sucks.
I'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure Pandemonium Fortress is just this.
Still weird to think that Pandemonium Fortress is like a fortress made within hell so they can like safely get into hell.
I mean, you got to start somewhere.
I mean, the demons kind of did the same thing when going into heaven, except they didn't leave a stronghold.
You know, I never even realized the drums in this song.
Yeah, because they're drowned out. Honestly, if you inverted everything, like if you just had like the ambience just set at like the regular level it's been throughout like every other song, and you brought forth the other instruments, it would be a much better song.
I would agree.
But unfortunately, just because of the way it's been set up, it's a 4. This is as high as I'm able to give it.
So I'm kind of on the same boat as you. Like, it's definitely the weakest song in the soundtrack. But I think just because like it fits its setting so well, I have to bump it up to a 5.
Yeah, I'm not willing to give it higher.
All right, that's fine. Man, then the last in-game song for base Diablo 2 is Leoric.
Which is weird that he has a song and he's like dead at this point.
So fun fact,
It's a march.
you hear the drums and stuff?
Yeah.
This is Diablo 1's like menu theme.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. That kind of makes sense when I was looking through the comments on YouTube. That the song was kind of like a throwback to Diablo 1's music. Well, at least the last 3 songs were.
So yeah, literally the only link that this song has to Leoric is just because it's Diablo 1.
Which is still weird why you would name it Leoric.
I don't know. Yeah, Leoric's not present in Diablo 2.
I mean, he's brought up, but he like it doesn't even go into his death. Diablo 3 does.
Yep.
I don't even know if Diablo 1 does. I don't even know if I don't think you kill him in 1.
I'm going to be real. I haven't played Diablo 1. Like, not to any real capacity. But eventually I will do it.
Well, if they re-release 2, I want to see if they have 1, and then if so, I would play it. It's kind of like a legacy game. Just like play it.
I kind of doubt it.
I have to take a look because like I want to play all the games in order.
That means you have to play Diablo by Sierra.
Wait, what?
Or no, it was called Diablo Hellfire or something. But essentially, it was like the PS1 port of Diablo 1 that nobody likes.
Well, I mean more of like Diablo 1, Diablo 2, and then Diablo 3.
Yeah, it's fine. I think Diablo 1 is exclusively single player, so it's not something we could play together.
I'll stream it whenever I get to it.
So does that mean we'll do co-op for 2 and 3?
Yeah.
All right, I'm fine with that.
At least that way it's enjoyable. But it would be like a story playthrough.
Of course. We're not doing any runs.
It's not like a rush through. It's just like, oh my god, we gotta beat it as fast as we can. It's like,
No
no, we're
Bale
just gonna...
farm, no Diablo farm, no Mephisto farm, no cow levels, even though it's super fun. No Ubers.
Yeah, it would just be straight, just like, we're going to enjoy...
We're going to beat normal. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's pretty much... We don't want to grind our head. But yeah, as far as the song goes, I enjoy it. It's played in like a march style, which is fitting for, a king, a leader of armies.
So this place is PTSD Central.
I don't know what that means.
Like hearing the music brings back so many bad memories of like how many times I've died trying to live through Chaos Sanctuary because all their like stupid enemy types.
I honestly don't remember them. I remember like some weird enemy type that was annoying to deal with that would always show up when fighting Diablo.
That probably means you just didn't clear the Sanctuary.
I mean, when I was in Sanctuary, that was because we were both in it. And we were both like running for our lives, trying to fight Diablo and fight a bunch of demons.
But I think there's only 3 enemy types. There's the Overlord, which is like think of like Doom Lords.
I think that's what it was.
They like run super fast and like breathe fire.
I remember those.
Those suck. And then there's like the like Magus people. They kind of look like Pharaoh samurais, but they're magic casters. And then there's like the stupid spectral birds, which drain mana and are extremely annoying.
Yeah, I remember going through a bunch of mana potions.
But like just clearing all 3 or getting all 5 of the seals is super annoying because there's so many elites and champions. Also, in this song specifically,
yeah, circus chimes.
There are 3 themes.
Are there?
So I was wrong. The march thing, that's the original Diablo 2 music. Like pre Lord of Destruction. But as the song goes on, you can hear the Diablo 1 theme in the background. And then this little glockenspiel is playing the Tristram theme.
Okay. That's weird. I didn't catch that. Or at least my initial listen through.
But as for Diablo, you can hear him screaming in the background too.
Yeah, I just heard that. Didn't catch that till just now.
And then his fight itself is a pain.
It's like any other Diablo fight. He just chases you, breathe fire, well, in that game it was like a lightning fire.
Yeah, lightning inferno.
And then he has like that fire ring that he launches.
That one hurts, but it's not nearly as bad. Like if you get caught in lightning inferno, it's essentially just a one-hit KO.
Well, because it's multiple ticks or it's multiple hit boxes. So it's like if you get hit by like, you're more than likely going to get hit by a few if you're just like running around him, and like he just happens to do the animation like right in front of you. But if you're like in one spot when he casts it, you're dead.
There's no escaping it. Yeah, I think this song definitely serves its like theming.
Yeah, it's really fitting. I give it a 6, honestly.
I gave it an 8. Just because especially coming off Mesa, it's a
step up.
Fantastically made song. You got three motifs in one.
Of course, I don't know that until now.
And then you can hear seagulls in the background too.
Which is a weird sound that they throw in there.
I think they're supposed to be like tortured souls or something, but they just didn't like mix it enough.
Just add more reverb. That solves every problem. Reverb.
Yeah, great song.
All right.
And now
The last two, I honestly just combined together because they fit as one song.
So this is Coda and Roger and Me, which is a stupid name.
Are they supposed to be two songs or both the same song?
Two.
Because I know Roger and Me is supposed to play after you save Decker Kane. Because it's Tristram, pretty much.
Yeah. So Coda is, you just killed Diablo. Here's the final cinematic. So it makes sense. Like, it's one of the songs that sounds relatively happy. But of course, in this series, everything is a hollow victory. So it still has like this really like sad, dark undertone to it.
And then it's Roger and Me.
So Roger, I think this is supposed to be the credits.
It plays after you save Decker Kane also. I know that from reading the YouTube comments. So after the Tristram song plays and it ends, it plays into this.
Because I know Tristram has this part too, like in the song itself. But this is a re-instrumentation of that. Yeah, there's not really anything to talk about because this is literally just Tristram Part 2.
Yeah, it's just like a replay of Tristram. Which makes sense because it's after Tristram gets burnt down. Is Tristram burnt down in the first game?
No.
It's the main hub, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I really liked just the combined songs. I had to give them a 9. Like, they just flowed so well into each other.
So that's a 9 combined?
9 combined. Otherwise, I would give Coda like a 7, and I'd give Roger and Me an 8.
Okay, that makes sense. I gave Coda a 6, and then Roger and Me an 8.
If you put them together,
probably still like an 8.5.
Yeah, still really close rankings. Honestly, it's weird.
On a soundtrack you don't really care for. And
Yeah,
the
I would definitely
I love
say
is like we have the most aligned scores.
Well, like you said, I had to try to keep it in line to the type of song or the type of game it was being played for, which is mostly supposed to be just mostly ambient music. So it was mostly me trying to keep in line with that thought process when listening to it. Otherwise, I would have ranked a lot of these songs much lower.
Yeah, that's important when we're doing, a video game soundtrack listen through. Context matters.
But yeah, it was I would say somewhat enjoyable to go through this soundtrack, especially like re-listening to songs that I've heard on like our 1 or 2 playthroughs that I think we've done. Because I know we've gone up to Nightmare.
No.
Yeah, we did.
We actually finished Hell.
Isn't Nightmare the hardest?
No, Hell is.
Oh.
Because we beat normally.
Well, we got carried on Hell.
I know, that's what I was getting to. Like, we got on to Nightmare, and then you stopped playing, and then I found groups that went through Act 5. And then, so I was in Hell, but you're still stuck in Nightmare. And then that dude that offered to carry us through Hell, we had to help you in Nightmare first, and then he carried us through Hell.
Oh, yeah, because I remember really burning out at the end of Nightmare.
For good reason.
It was just such a huge slog.
Yeah, we became Matriarch and Patriarch. At, 78? Far too low.
Way too low. Like, we were supposed to, grind up a lot more. I still don't even know how that game works when it comes to like killing bosses. Like if you kill the boss, like is the boss completely dead? Like you can't refight it?
You can only refight it if someone hasn't completed the quest. So, like, for example, if I beat, Andariel on my own, and then I make a game and then you join, Andariel won't be there. But if you make a game and I join, Andariel will be there.
So you pretty much would only get more chances of loot
Yep.
as long as you play with people that don't do it.
Yep. And that's how the whole run system works. So, like, for example, like, Bale runs. Someone will have a quest to kill Bale. And then as soon as Bale's dead, everyone picks up the loot. Everyone just abandon the game because if you turn on the quest, then he's gone.
Oh, okay. So pretty much you just kill him. Do you even port out or you just leave?
Just leave.
And then just go back and re-kill him?
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. Which I'm surprised we never did that to try to get better gear.
I think it was just a mixture of you're burning out.
Probably.
One thing I want to do when we eventually go back to 2, we have to do the cow level at least once.
I'm fine with that.
Moo,
moo, moo.
It's so dumb.
The Homer Simpson cows.
So yeah, we didn't have personal songs this time because I honestly just forgot.
Yeah, so this will be a much shorter episode. I want to say like an hour and a half.
Yep.
But I already have the next song or next soundtrack idea. It's going to be Mega Man X5, which is probably my most favorite Mega Man game.
I would have thought it was 8.
5 is my most favorite. 8 would be second favorite.
All right. I was actually wondering when you're going to pick a Mega Man game.
I was thinking about it. I'm like, I haven't picked a Mega Man game yet, which is weird because I picked a Sonic game well before I picked a Mega Man game. But yeah, I feel like it was about time to finally pick a Mega Man song.
All right. X5 is one of the games that I enjoy. That makes it sound like I hate the entire series. I only hate 3 and 6.
Yeah, 6 is on a much lower end for me. 3, I could definitely get why you would dislike it.
Like, let's take the mechanics of 2, but make it worse.
I like the music for 3. I don't like the music for 2.
I like 2 overall.
2 plays fine.
2 is my favorite.
Didn't you speedrun it?
Yep.
Which was weird that you picked that game.
But I did it. I even got a PB on the speedrun too.
Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, that'll actually be it for this week's episode, which is surprising that we ended it so quickly.
To be fair, there's like only 17 songs?
Yeah, we've gone through 20 and it's been 2 hours.
When have we done 20?
Whenever we go on the long episodes, it's like once we got to 20, it was already like the 2-hour mark.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we've ever gone that long. I think our longest one pre-cut was like 2.5.
Probably. I know Kingdom Hearts and Xenoblade were pretty long.
Yeah. But thank you for listening.
And we'll see you on the next episode of VGOSTRAM.
Goodbye.